Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I think it's hilarious, put it mildly, when you have, for instance, people who don't know really anything about the subject, but they come and they talk about it. Well, sometimes we make this kind of mistake, but I hope that we immediately recover and say, wait a minute, actually I don't know anything about it. I should keep my mouth shut. I'm not saying you should not have an opinion, but sometimes when you don't know what you're talking about or you don't know what happened, the best way to do it is not to take sides if you don't know. So now we have Greta Thunberg. And Greta knows who blew up the dam in Ukraine. She knows that Putin did it. How she knows that? I have no idea. Hey, I think I know. I think she might have read some articles. Okay, that's her evidence. Okay, those people who wrote articles, how do they know? Well, they read what the communiques from certain kind of sources had to say, like the Ukrainians. So they read what the Ukrainians said. And the Ukrainians said, without providing evidence but this, the Russians blew up the dam. They mine it, they put dynamite inside, and Putin ordered it. That's it. And this is our evidence. Our intelligence said so, and you gotta believe us. And that was made as a statement, released to the public, in their media. It was taken by free media, and Greta, right here, she read it probably, or maybe someone else read it for her. Okay, so here you have Greta Thunberg calls for Russia to be punished for ECOCIDE in Ukraine. So she knows that Russia is guilty. As I said, actually she doesn't know shit. Why? Because there's just a few people who actually know who did it. And again, I don't know who did it, but let's see. Is the guys who know that they did it and the guys who know they did not did it. So you have Russia, let's say Russia and Ukraine. One of these guys, let's say, did it. So if the Russians did it, the Ukrainians know that they didn't do it, and the Russians know that they did it. You understand that? These guys know that they didn't do it. They don't know if the Russians did it. They know they didn't do it. Unless they have information, obviously secret, confidential, that these guys did it. But now we have this problem. What if the Russians say, you did it? And this guy says, no, you did it. And the Ukrainian says, no, Putin ordered it and you guys put, you detonated. You put over there explosive. Okay, what if the Russians say the same thing? No. It was Zelenskyy who ordered it and you guys shot it with a missile. What if they say this? Who are you going to believe and why? And again, we go to that inceptual stupidity of good versus evil. Good, evil. So you're not going to listen to evidence. Remember, all these guys took a side in the mass media in the West just by what the Ukrainians said. They don't have any evidence. They didn't present any evidence. The evidence is this. Our intelligence told us that Putin ordered it and they blew the dam. That's it. And everybody says, yes, we believe you. Why? Why? It's like someone comes and tells you, hey, you're guilty because my father saw you. And everybody says, yes, it's true, you did it because Emil's father saw you. Do you think that would be beyond a reasonable doubt? Would reach that threshold? Not even a preponderance of evidence to support the allegations or the statements or the, however you want to call it, accusations. Not even 51%, that would not pass 51%. Why? Because you always have to listen to what the other side said. And the other side says the exactly same thing. So Greta talks shit about something she doesn't know anything about. I would ask Greta what's the capital of Bangladesh. First thing. Second, I would like her to tell me how is rain formed? When, water falls out of the sky. How does that happen? And the third thing I would ask her, tell me how a hydroelectric power plant works. What's the principle? What's that water doing? What's that little thing over there doing? And what's the thing next to it doing? Can you tell me? At least give me something like that. At least build a little bit of, credibility. So again, she talks about ECOCIDE. Now, very interestingly, this comes from Ukrainska Pravda. And in the same day as today, when this came, I have another article, I'm going to share it with you, obviously, where I have another person talking about the same thing. Right here, same Ukrainska Pravda. Zelenskyy calls on world to punish Putin for ECOCIDE. Is that the same thing this woman said? Greta Thunberg calls for Russia to be punished for ECOCIDE. Very interesting, isn't it? But hey, if it was ECOCIDE, it was ECOCIDE. Lives broken, ecosystems destroyed. But they did not, for me, put this like you are Russia. And you tell me if the evidence these guys provided, not only what they said, hey, they did it because our intelligence said so. I need evidence. There's not evidence. I say because they said. It works in the United States of America here when the CIA or FBI says something, you're guilty, but I'm not going to show you why you're guilty because it's confidential. That's how it works here, and I guess that's the way it works over there. Now it's a fact. It became a fact that Russia blew up the dam. Based on what? The Ukrainians said so. And the Russians are evil. And the Ukrainians are good. Not Ukrainians. I make a mistake when I say Ukrainians. Because I should not refer to the Ukrainians. I should refer to the clique in charge of the Ukrainian nation. So Greta, again, she comes over, says something without understanding almost anything. If I ask her about what's the political system in Russia, she would tell me that's a dictatorship and probably a tyranny. She doesn't understand what's going on over there. I'm most likely certain that that's going to be her But anyway, maybe I'm just anticipating something that, maybe it's not like that. But by coming out and saying that someone pushed her to say that, or she just did that, and these guys are just promoting that ignorance. And again, mass media. How did the mass media determine it was Russia? Because when they use logic or they use common sense, oh, it's in Russia's advantage. Oh, it's in Russia. Okay, let's say it's in Russia's advantage. If it's in Russia's advantage, are you going to use the same logic in Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2 pipelines? Because if we use the same logic, then the United States did it. So we have a little problem here. You can't just pick and choose what kind of logic you use and based on the situation. So if that advantages Russia blowing up the dam, then blowing up Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2, I think advantages the United States of America the most. And they said they will stop it. So I think it's more evidence over there than it's over here who the actual perpetrators were, if we are to follow just, by logic and by adding and getting who's the primary suspect, secondary suspect, and all that. Don't you think? Well, I think we get too intellectual here. Not that it was too deep, but this is such a low-level garbage that it makes me, how should I put it, I have to lower everything to their level of facts and evidence and proof. It's unbelievable. This kind of proof, I remember not later than the second grade. And I'm not kidding. After third grade, let's say when I was in the third grade, something like this did not work. Did not work. People will say, no, what? Just because you say so? Just because Gigi said so? I need more than that. As I said, in order to find, or at least to see if a rule or a ruling is just, you have to do at least two things, which are kind of related. One, see if the rule applies equally across the board. And the second one, which is kind of the same, put yourself at the receiving end of the ruling and see if going back, if the ruling was logical and factual and fact-based and all that, chronological and whatever, objective. And you're going to immediately realize where the problems of logic and facts and evidence was up. Immediately, when your skin is in danger. Right now you're outside and you are okay. Again, facts, all right, evidence. Interpretations, yes, there are some interpretations, but the interpretation, you have to base them on something, and then you make a logical connection between them. But I don't want to get too deep in this. I'm just saying that Greta doesn't know what she's talking about, but she's talking. Zelenskyy is doing it because he has to, and the mass media, again, has no evidence. But they talk. They already determined that they did it. Why? Because the Ukrainians said so. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.